Your marriage might look fine on the outside. No obvious conflict. You're not screaming at each other all the time. Nobody's having an affair. Nobody's packed their bags and ready to leave. But inside, something feels off. Well, today I want to walk you through 7 warning signs that your marriage is quietly in crisis so that you can see it early and decide what to do next. Hi, I'm Debbie Cottle, therapist and relationship expert for over 30 years. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Christian Marriage Fix. This is where I help couples decode the silent signs of distress in your marriage, the things that are quietly eroding the emotional safety and connection and sense of intimacy that you want your marriage to have. What you're about to hear are not bad things, but they are patterns that show up a lot in marriage that, if not addressed, begin to choke out everything that is good about your marriage. And it's a slow, gradual process. So the first warning sign is emotional distance, not conflict. All couples have conflict. But when you're no longer fighting, when you're only talking about logistical things, you're not sharing what's really inside your hearts with each other, and you stopped believing that you can be close with your spouse, that's a warning sign. The second sign is avoiding hard conversations. If you've gotten to the point in your marriage where you believe it's just easier to not bring things up, to not discuss them because you're wanting to avoid a fight, you don't want to argue anymore, each avoided conversation is a tiny layer that's building up a wall of distance between you and your spouse. And even if you tell yourself, we'll talk about this later, chances are later is going to turn into never. The third warning sign is that the friendship that you once had between you and your spouse has faded. You're still co-parenting. You're still paying the bills together. You're still getting the household responsibilities done. You're still partnering in all those ways, but you've stopped enjoying time with each other. You're not doing anything to have fun or connect on a daily basis. You're just coexisting under the same roof. So there are no more little joys, little moments of shared laughter, the shared secret language that couples can have with each other. All of that's gone. You've lost the sense of companionship that you used to have. And when that happens, the marriage loses its joy and resilience. The fourth sign that you are in quiet crisis is that more often than not, one or both of you is shutting down instead of reacting, getting angry, fighting. It's just, again, gotten easier to say nothing, to walk away, to just not deal with the issue at hand. Or you might ask for connection with your spouse. You might ask for help. You might ask for support. And all you get is, I'm tired, I'm busy, or you can just see that they're distracted. This might feel safer than always fighting. You might come away from this going, it doesn't feel good, I don't like it, but at least we're not in major big crisis. But this is eroding the sense of emotional safety that you could otherwise have in your marriage. This keeps you from wanting to open up because you're always being met by this stony silence. The fifth sign is that you're living parallel lives. And unfortunately, I see this one a lot. Couples get to this point in their marriage where they handle the logistics really well, but they started to live independent lives from each other. They come home from work. He's in this part of the house doing his stuff over here. She's over here doing her thing. They stop going on vacations together. They don't have any shared interests together. You're certainly not doing date night. There's more and more distance between you as a couple. You stopped inviting each other into your time together. The sixth warning sign that your marriage is in quiet crisis is that you are starting to feel a lot of resentment without it ever leading to any resolution. So if internally you find yourself harboring a lot of hurtful thoughts and feelings towards your spouse, you find that spilling out into sarcastic remarks, or you're on the receiving end of that, the conversation feels really biting between the two of you, a lot of put downs, a lot of snide, off the cuff, in passing remarks to each other that just feel like little emotional darts that you're both throwing at each other, some of which don't land, some of which very much do. Underneath that, bitterness is forming. And bitterness is like chipping away at concrete when you try to remove it. It's very, very difficult to change a marriage when one or both of you has become bitter in your heart to the other. The seventh warning sign is that you stopped believing it can be better. And that doesn't mean that you want to leave the marriage, but perhaps in your heart, you've gotten to this place where you just have come to believe this is as good as it's going to get. I don't want to leave. It's easier in some ways to stay financially. I've got my established routine. I don't want to disrupt all that. I don't want to walk away maybe for the kids' sakes or because of money or just because it's complicated to walk away. But I stopped believing that we're ever going to be connected, that we're ever going to be more than just roommates. They're not going to change. This is just how they are. I just have to accept that this is the way my marriage is going to be. I hate it. I'm mad about it. I'm resentful about it. It's coming out in the way that I talk to my spouse, but I don't want to put the work in to change it because I don't really believe that change is possible. If any of these signs feel familiar to you, that's normal. Lots of marriages get to this point, and it does not mean that your marriage is not fixable. What it does mean is that you are in quiet crisis, and if you don't do something right now to change your marriage, it will get to the point where you are in full-blown crisis, and you are now headed towards an affair, or your spouse is headed to an affair, or you're headed to divorce, or a combination of all of those. So this is the time to do something. It's a lot easier to fix a marriage that is in quiet crisis than one that is in full-blown crisis. That makes sense, right? So if this is where you're at, the first thing you need to do is just acknowledge that this is what's going on. It's not, you don't need to panic, okay? This isn't a disaster. This can be turned around. The second thing you need to do is just have a gentle conversation with your spouse. This is what I'm noticing. This is what I'm feeling inside. I'm a little bit scared about where we're headed if we don't do something about this. See if your spouse notices it as well, feels the same way, and is as willing as you to make some attempts to change this. Use your I statements. I've been feeling distant from you lately. I've been feeling disconnected. It doesn't feel safe right now to be in this marriage, and you probably feel the same way. And the third thing you need to do is decide if you need outside help. That might be talking to a pastor. That might be getting a therapist, or it might be we need a marriage intensive. And that's why I created Marriage in Bloom. It's a 6-month transformative program that creates a guided, structured, biblically based program for you that walks you through one-on-one coaching with guided exercises and tools to help you begin to stop all of those warning signs that say you're in crisis and reverse direction in your marriage, to build back the connection by understanding the underlying patterns that are eroding that connection. If you're interested in knowing more about that, please go to my website, debbiecottle.com/marriageandbloom, and click on the free marriage assessment. That is a 45 to 60 minute free call with me where we just take a heartfelt look at what's going on in your marriage, how you got here, what you want to change about it, and what your next steps are. I hope to see you there.